Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear audience, I am Tayyib Ajaz, and here I am going to deliver my second lecture regarding the preparation of lecture examination in English to Punjab Public Service Commission. And as per my promise, here is the part 2, the second part of the lecture. So we start in the name of Allah along with our dua. Rabbi Zidni Ilma, O God, increase our knowledge. In our previous lecture, we have discussed about the syllabus, and the other thing that we discussed in our previous lecture was about the preparation of history of English literature, and we have already discussed it in detail along with the suggestions of some books from history and subjective as well as objective type of preparation. So now we talk about the other things that we are supposed to prepare. So as far as the study is concerned, the study for knowledge is all about lengthy text, especially when it is literature. When you want to gain knowledge, you have to read a lot, you have to study a lot, and for this knowledge purpose, you must be consistent enough to study the long text, the bulky books, and so on. So your most required quality is the consistency, that you should be being consistent in your work. The second thing that I would like to talk is that you must read carefully and effectively. Do not read casually, do not read for pleasure, rather you're supposed to read very much carefully, very much effectively. Then the most important thing is that you should read, you should study along with a pen, a pencil, some writing material along with you all the time. And definitely when you will be having something to write, you might be having something to be written on. You must have a notebook. Although it is not very much necessary to have a notebook, you can use sticky notes, you can use the margins of your books for writing important things, but it is always good to have a notebook with you so that you may make your own notes. While reading the text, you must highlight the important text, the key points, the keywords, the main things. By highlighting the text, by highlighting the points, you are actually preparing your own notes. And the final and the most important thing is that when you highlight important things, when you highlight trouble areas, when you highlight important text, do not just highlight, rather you should keep track of those things. Just revise those things gradually so that you may have all those concepts permanently in your mind. So we have discussed 5 things over here: the consistency, the effective and careful reading, always studying with a pen, pencil and your notebook with you, highlighting the important text, highlighting the important things, and then keeping a track of all those essential things, all those basic information. While studying for knowledge, just do not read with your eyes. Read with the eyes of your brain. Read actively. Keep your brain awake when you read. Put your all the concentration, put your all the attention towards the text, towards the things that you are reading, towards your material. If you will read actively, if you will read consciously, the concepts will stay in your mind for a longer period of time. Otherwise, they may fall into the short memory and soon you may forget. Take notes, previously also discussed. You must jot down the notes and the margins are in a notebook. All the difficult things, all the new things, all the things that you yourself think are important must be written in the form of the notes. Not in a lengthy way, but just in your own words, in brief words, so that you may revise when you go through them again. Pay attention to the problem spots. You might have difficult things, you might have new things, you might have problem areas while you are studying. So especially note those problem areas and especially pay extra attention to those problem areas. Then when you have gone through all these first 3 steps, you are supposed to review your notes periodically. Keep reviewing them, keep revising them so that you may keep all those things fresh in your mind. In the current era, I would like to suggest that you people must involve ICT with you, the information and the communication technology. That is, that just do not rely only to the books, do not rely only to the notebooks. Rather, you should transfer your notes to the soft way. Transfer your written material to your personal computer, your laptop, your mobile phone, or even it is better that you should transfer them to the cloud. You people are well aware of all these words, the laptop, the PC, the cell, the cloud. You can keep them on internet, on cloud, so that whenever you need at any place, you may go through them again and again. Your written work might be lost. You may lose your books, notebooks, they may be spoiled, but your cloud technology, your soft technology keeps your things secure. So you should use MS Word, Google Documents, Google Docs, OneNote, Evernote, or even you can use other cloud technologies like Microsoft cloud technology, or you can use there are other certain cloud technologies like Dropbox, so you can use them. So the previous 5 points were already discussed. Here is something new, that you must relate your text with other text. When you will be studying literature, you will come across the things, ideas, philosophies that have been discussed by other people as well, and other books related to those very ideas. So you are supposed to relate the relevant things with each other. If something is discussed by one writer, might be some other writer has also discussed in his or her own works. So you are supposed to relate those things and mention those things, whether they are the books, the works, etc. Relate them and list them along with your text. When you have done all this, then you are supposed to write a description of what you have studied. Give your own critical comments. Try to be a critic by your own self. Describe what you have studied, describe what you have learned. Write down your own observations about the writer, about his views, about his way, about his style of discussing the things. Whatever comes into your mind as a critic, you're supposed to write. For keeping those things more permanent in your mind, you're supposed to discuss these things with your classmates, with your friends. Discussion will even broaden your view, broaden your spectrum. So you are supposed to discuss the things that you have learned with your friends. It may be helpful for you as well as for your friends. And the last thing is that if possible, deliver yourself in the form of a lecture to the others. What you have prepared should be delivered by you to the other people, and it will be beneficial not only for them but for you as well. Now we discuss about the key areas while studying literature. That when you are going to study literature, what are the key areas? What are the main things that are supposed to be studied? The first thing of any work is definitely its title and the author. You are supposed to have a good understanding of the title, because title gives you a lot of information about any work, and you must know a good information, a good knowledge about the author. After title and author, then comes the genre. This word has been specifically difficult for many of the students. including me when I was a student. Whether this was yawn, yawnera, some of the teachers even read it as genre. So we don't discuss about the pronunciation. It simply means to what category does that work belong to. Whether it's a novel, whether it's a story, it's a short story, it's a fiction, it's a fantasy, it's a poem, it's an epic, mock epic, whatever it is, you must have a good understanding, a good knowledge of that very type. Then comes the date and the location, the era, the age in which that very specific work that you are studying was written. Where it was written, what was the location, and when it was written, what was the age, what was the date, what was the time period when it was written. Then comes the characters, the major characters that are involved in the work. Definitely you will go through major characters and minor characters. You yourself will understand that what sort of important characters are there and what sort of less important characters are there. So you must have understanding of the characters and their names. You should also know whether these characters are flat character, round character, what sort of development they go through during the course of the work. Then comes the plot, the story and the plot. Both of these things are different things. Definitely you know about the story, the events that took place in the work, and the plot. At what level, what events did take place? To what sequence those events took place. So you must have a grip on the plot. Then comes the main ideas that have been discussed in that very work. What were the main ideas? What were the themes? What were the key areas that were discussed by the writer in that very work? You must have a good understanding of those ideas, the writer's philosophy, and so on. So, what was the theme of the writer? What was the major theme? Theme might be major, minor as well, as we have discussed the characters. So, what are the themes? What are the ideas that the writer have discussed in very specific way? Another important thing in the study of literature is, as you people are well aware, the figures of speech, the literary terms. The literary terms and the figures of speech are always very much tricky, difficult, and so on. But they are never difficult for those who study. We can say that these literary terms are the base of literature. So you people might have a good understanding of the literary terms. So the language matters a lot, and perhaps not a lot, rather, all that matters is the language, how the things are described, how the things are discussed. You know, the writers are having the extra specific thing, their expression. Otherwise, all the things that the writers describe in their works are the same they get from the observation as we observe, as I and you observe from the environment. But what matters is their expression, how they expressed. So figures of speech or literary terms are very much important. We have already discussed, and they are always part of the written test as well as of the interview. Every time, whenever there is a written test for the post of lecturer, there are always some literary terms in the written test, and definitely they are also asked in the interview as well. So you must be well prepared for these things. Apart from that, you must have not only the knowledge, but a good sort of understanding is mandatory. Do not just cram the definition of the terms. Rather, you should have understanding along with the examples. For this purpose, you can have any good book for literary terms, or you can have a Penguin Dictionary of Literary Terms, or whatever book you like. They will be almost same. You must have one good book for preparation of literary terms, and along with that very preparation, you must know about the examples as well. Let us test our knowledge. I have mentioned over here almost 20 literary terms. Just for the sake of testing, Can you recall these things in your mind, that whether you know about these things or not? Onomatopoeia, finale, allusion, euphemism, flashback, hyperbole, irony, malapropism, simile and metaphor, personification, oxymoron, metonym, synecdoche, soliloquy, aside, sarcasm. So if you think that you know almost 3 by 4th of these terms, then you are very much good in literary terms. Then you have a good understanding of the literary world. But if you do not remember, you cannot recall half of them, then you need to work more on this area. You need to work more on literary terms. Here comes our direct topic: how to prepare a literary work. And the first thing that I would like to discuss about it is that to what area, to what genre it belongs to. While starting to prepare a literary work, first of all, you must know about the area, about the type, about the genre that it does belong. You should know whether it is novel, whether it is drama, whether it is a poem, or whatever it is. Or even if it is a novel, what sort of novel it is. If it's a drama, what type of drama it is, whether it's tragedy, comedy, tragicomedy, melodrama, whatever it is, whether it's a poem, what sort of poem it is, whether it is a epic, whether it is in the form of stanza, whether it's a ode, whatever it is, you must know about it, that to what subgenre it relates to. If it's a novel, what sort of novel it is. For example, whether it's a picaresque novel, it's a Bildungssommer novel, epistolatory novel, whether it's a historical novel, whether it's a satirical novel, it's a utopian novel, it's a gothic novel, or whether it's a detective novel, whatever sub area does it belong to. So, while going to start a literary work, first of all, you must know about it. To what area, to what genre it belongs to, and to what sub-genre it belongs to. So the next thing in preparing a literary work is the author. After you have known about the genre or the type of the work, you are supposed to know the things about the author. When you talk about the author, you are supposed to know the following things about the author. The first thing, definitely, you might have known the name of the author, whether it's his real name, parental name, or whether he writes with some pen name. Then comes the parentage of the writer. Then matters the parental profession of the writer, because you know financial matters are always important. The money matters always have a lot of influence on the mind of the people, on the writings, or so on. So what were the profession of his parents or her parents? The siblings, the family, the brothers, the sisters, even the marriages of the parents matter a lot to the psyche of the children. So you must know about the parentage, professions, and the siblings. What were the early circumstances of the family in which that very writer have survived? You must know about the circumstances of the family, the education, the early education, from where did the writer get his early or her early education. Most of the writers have been apprentices in their early ages. They have been learning various things at various places. So you must know the apprenticeships, the trainings that the writers have. The association with others writers are even also possible. The friendships are also possible with the writers of that very age. Or any other specific details. For example, your specific writer that you are studying might have been influenced by any other writer of his age or even of before his age. So these influences matter a lot. So you must know the parentage, the profession, the siblings, the circumstances, the education, the association, and any other specific detail about the author. Then comes the age. After the yawn, the author, then comes the age in which that very work was written. Okay? You can call it the age, the era, the time period in which it was written. So, as far as the age or era is concerned, following things are important to be noted. What time period it was that the work was compiled? Whether it was 15th century, 16th century, 18th century, whatever time period it was when the work was compiled. What were the circumstances of that very age? What were the situations of that very age? What were the events that took place in very age? Okay. You know all the events that are happening around the writers. The writers are very much sensitive. The authors are very much sensitive. They take influence from the happenings around them. So if there are any specific events of that very age that took place, you're supposed to even talk. For example, you remember well that whenever it comes to Chaucer, the Black Death matters a lot. So what sort of events have an influence on the author or the work? The events that have taken place before that very work, or they have recently taken place, or even they are taking place. So all these things matter a lot when you talk about the age in which that very work was compiled. So in that very age, you must also know the background, the certain backgrounds in which, for example, the political background matters. What were the political circumstances? The kings, the queen, the political influences, their fights, their relation with other nations, with their neighbors, etc. The social backgrounds, how the society was living, how the society was surviving, the moral values of the society, of the age, the religious affiliations of the age, or religious or even might be sectarian. For example, you might have gone through the Puritans. You might also know about the rift between the two factions of the Christianity, the Christians, the Catholics and the Protestants. So these things matter a lot. The military background, the military expeditions, the fights, the battles, the pearls, or so on of that very age, or even any other event that might have taken place recently or that is taking place. For example, the French Revolution is a very major event, and whenever some concerned literary works are discussed, if the French Revolution was there, the influence is always discussed. So, the political, social, moral, religious, military, or any other relevant thing might be an important thing for you to know. Then we directly fall upon the work, and then comes the story and the plot. To be brief, I would like you to prepare the major events of the story. You must have the first-hand knowledge of the major events of the work that you are studying, that you are preparing. You must have the main events in the mind. You know, when you have the events in your mind, when you have the story in your mind, you can remember the things in a easy way, in an easier way. So you must have all the major events in your mind. What happened at what time? The story always goes like this. What happened at what time? Who were involved? And what were the consequences? If you keep these things in your mind, you might easily handle a lot of lot of MCQ type questions in your exam. What happened at what time? Who were involved? And what were the consequences? Although story and plot are different things, keep them related to each other so that you may prepare more with less labor. Just try to relate the things in your mind. Try to take both story and plot together so that you people might understand the things, more things with less labor. Here is a grammatical mistake. There should be no of, rather there must be are. The story and plot are different things, but they can be prepared simultaneously. I am very much sure that you have the clear concepts of the plot and story. You people are well aware what is plot, what is story, but you can prepare the both things in a single go. The themes. What is the major theme presented in the work that you are preparing? Every work has one major theme that might be discussed in that very work. So you must be well aware of that very major theme. It is possible that there is one major theme and certain other sub-themes. So if there are sub-themes, you also should be aware of those sub-themes. Each and every theme must be very much clearly understood. Your mind must be very much clear about the theme that you are having in the work. Consider the author's philosophy, his point of view, his ideology while talking about the themes. When you are discussing the themes, you must have in your mind the writer's specific viewpoint, his or her philosophy of life, or so on. Then comes the other works of the authors. It is very much important that when you are preparing an author, do not just read only one book. It is even more important when you are talking about your interview. An interview, the most important question asked is, who is your favorite writer? Or even they may ask which one is your favorite work, but it is most of the time asked like this, that who is your favorite author? So if you have one author in your mind, just do not limitize yourself to single work. You know, writers are very much versatile in their works. They have written a lot of things. Even single writer have worked in many areas. He or she has written a novel, a drama, poetry as well. So find the works of the authors. You should know about the other works of that very author, the other main characters as well. So have a brief introduction of the major works. The writer that is under preparation, you should have a brief introduction of all his other major works, and you should also know about the themes and major characters of the other works. If you are preparing Shakespeare, you must have a good knowledge of all the tragedies or the comedies of the Shakespeare, or even you should know about the major characters that he has discussed in his works. There might be diversity in the themes, philosophy, ideology. Definitely, the writers are very much intelligent, very much creative. They are never limited to single thing. There might be certain diversity in their themes and their philosophies and their ideologies. So you must have a good understanding of all those things. Then comes other works with similarities. There might be possible that what you have read in one work has been also discussed by some other writer in his or her own works. So, as we have discussed in the earlier slides, that you must point out the similarities. You should know about the other works, other writers who have discussed the same theme. So, know about the other literary works with similarities with the work under your consideration. Go for the related works, related authors, related themes, etc., etc. try comparisons. Just try to discuss how one specific theme was discussed by one writer and how it was even discussed by some other writer. The comparison may give you more broader view. Even not only the comparison, you can talk about the contrasts as well. You might have you might have gone through the works that one of the writer is saying something and the other one is totally negating it, totally talking against it. So you must find if there are certain oppositions, certain dissimilarity, certain contrasts, you must note those things and prepare as well. That was our end of the lecture. So at the end, I would like to ask about your questions. Your questions are always welcome. So if you have any question, just put your questions in the comment box and I will be there to guide you. I will be there to reply you. And my offer is open to you all that if you want more guidance, you can contact me via email, via my WhatsApp number, and I will be there to guide. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much for listening to my channel. If you have not subscribed my channel, I would request you to subscribe it so that the further lectures, further material may be available to you whenever we upload it. Thank you very much.